Yeah, I thought we agreed the only tournaments would be King of the Ring from now on, not this World Cup again. I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling blog who always tells it like it is. Well, I wasn't 3-3 at Crown Jewel. I was 5-3. Mixed up the women's matches, and I guess Karen Cross is on the outs again because McIntyre won the cage match. Everything else, spot on. Speaking of, looks like they resurrected something else from a past Crown Jewel, the WWE World Cup. Except it's the SmackDown World Cup this time, and they had to jump through a lot of hoops to make sure everyone involved isn't representing America. Of course, this whole thing is to promote the real World Cup of international soccer held in Qatar starting next week, and playing on Fox and Fox Sports 1, among others, I'm sure. Bit of a shame that ESPN and ABC lost it, but it's all part of the same family now, so whatevs. But that got me to thinking about the 32 nations partaking in the FIFA World Cup, and I started to wonder if there was a WWE superstar that was born in each of those nations. Turns out I was wrong, and a number of them don't have any, past or present, representing them in the WWE, but I decided to rip through all of them anyway and see what I could find. I'll start by saying that 6 countries partaking in the World Cup never had a WWE appointee. Cameroon, Costa Rica, Senegal, Tunisia, South Korea, and the host country Qatar. Now, since the WWE is currently looking for the next African superstar, maybe one of those countries will show themselves. And of course, I'm skipping over the US because, well, duh. So let's start with North and Central America. Obviously, the 2 most recent Canadian exports have been Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Who knows if they'll team again to stop the Usos, like I'm hoping. And Mexico may have a fair number of luchadors, but as of late I could only find that Santos Escobar was actually born in Mexico. The Mysterios don't count. They were born in San Diego. Down in South America, always a soccer powerhouse, finding pro wrestlers isn't as easy. The only Brazilian I could dig up was Giant Silva, who was part of the Oddities during the 1990s Attitude Era. And Argentina only had Giant Gonzalez, the only one to lose to The Undertaker during the streak by disqualification. The 2 other South American countries are oldies. Ecuador gave us Pablo Marquez, aka Babu, in the late 80s, a stooge to Tiger Ali Singh at the time. Oh, by the way, Tiger was born in Canada, just so you know. And Uruguay had a man named El Fuego, who worked in the WWE mostly as a trainer, teaching Gail Kim everything he knew to get her into the main roster. Africa is just as bare as mentioned before, but we have a few standouts. Morocco had someone named Alabe who competed in the developmental leagues but never got to the big time. But of course we can't have African wrestlers without a mention of Ghana's Kofi Kingston. I'm pretty sure of who he's rooting for in the World Cup. On the Asia and Oceania front, the Aussies, who are part of FIFA's Asian Confederation for some reason, have had a few good ones, and Grayson Waller seems to be on the fast track to stardom. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has Mansoor, naturally, and their rival in Iran both have both the Iron Sheik and Daivari as impressive competitors. And of course Japan is known for many great WWE superstars, not the least of which being Shinsuke Nakamura. But of course Europe has the most nations in the mix. England has the Brawling Brutes. Wales had Mason Ryan for a while. Switzerland of course had Cesaro, while the Netherlands had Aleister Black, and the WWE might have him back soon. Germany's Ludwig Kaiser is still building a name for himself as part of the Imperium. After that, things get a little difficult. Croatia's pride and joy was Nikolai Volkov, as I explained in the Russian to Conclusions video. Poland is actually Commander Aziz. Oh yeah, he's Polish, not Nigerian. And neither is Apollo Crews, mind. I found one interesting thing about Spain. Kane was born there. I know, right? Then we have France, and though we have French-Canadian superstars, the only one I saw that actually was born in France was the late great Andre the Giant. Denmark's Desiree Peterson was actually one of the first holders of the WWF Women's Tag Titles with Velvet McIntyre. Salvatore Bellomo sounds Italian, but he was born in Belgium and was a jobber as the WWE was just turning into a national sensation. Portugal's Killer Kelly from NXT UK had a decent run and might have again if she rejoins NXT Europe next year. And finally, one of the most obscure ones is Serbia's King Constantine. He didn't last in NXT in the pre-UK days very long, and was released after almost a year and a half. So, there you go. Yeah, 26 of the 32 nations in this year's World Cup has or had at least one superstar in the WWE at one time or another. Quite an impressive lineup, am I right? It's a shame that we can't have something like that on SmackDown and Raw, a real World Cup with wrestlers from all over the world competing. Personally, I wouldn't mind a World Cup style tag team tournament with round robin followed by an elimination tournament, but considering the number of teams we have on the roster now, that's not going to be likely. And well, I guess we'll have to settle for the boys on the pitch for those who take Ted Lasso as gospel for the sport. I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling blogger who always tells it like it is. Stay safe, pray for peace, and I'll see you